Well, hi there, crazy people. I definitely think my stopwatch has gotten slow. I think I interrupted the GIF somewhere. But hello to everyone. Let me quickly check the Q&A before we get started. Athena, definitely it's happening. There's a live screen up there with cool GIFs running, so that's definitely still happening. How's it, Phil? Gee whiz, I'm gonna have to start sending you a check in the post, but I'll only score with that because South African Post doesn't run. Then, hi Susan. Yeah, this crazy screen. I'll definitely share some interesting things with you regarding this screen because it's built in PowerPoint with love. And then, thanks, Phil. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Phil. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm quite excited for tonight, even though I did zero preparation except for this crazy screen that you can see. And but I'm really excited about sharing some cool things about SharePoint Online with you. It is definitely my first true love when it comes to Microsoft is SharePoint. So I think it's going to be an exciting evening. But I don't know. Before we get there, I've got this crazy thing that I want to share with you first. I don't know why that's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. So firstly, it's very cold in South Africa. And I know I'm being sissy because it's like, I don't know. Let's quickly check. It says it's 14 degrees. There's no way that it's 14 degrees Celsius. It's not. It's about 9 degrees Celsius, which is about 20 degrees Celsius too cold for me, below. But anyway, so I think the first thing that I want to share with you before I get started is about creativity, and that's why I had so much fun building this splash screen, as Phil calls it, is that I want you to remember that don't ever stop having fun. I mean, I think that's something that I, for some odd reason, got right a couple of years ago, even when I was still working for corporate companies, and that's that I just had a lot of fun in the work that I did. And I think if you do that, if you focus on having some fun as well, then your job's nicer and what you do is nicer and you just achieve a lot more. Your job doesn't have to be all pinstripes and black and white. I mean, just have some fun, especially when it comes to SharePoint. I mean, you can see this specific image that you're looking at there is something that I built for SharePoint about 10 years ago, and I just went and updated it tonight. So please shout out in the Q&A if you want me to share these templates. I'll wrap it in a blog or something if you want these images and these type of things, because I've just had so much fun with this in the past. So I'd gladly share these type of templates with you if you are interested. And it honestly is built in PowerPoint, by the way. So true story. I used to build them in Excel, and then I became really good at doing them in PowerPoint, and that was how all of those cool things went. So let's get cracking then. I think tonight is about SharePoint Online. I'm going to look at web parts and the different sites that you get. I want to have fun. I am going to have fun. We're going to look at graphics. I'll share some nice tips and tricks with you as well, and some nice sites that you can use. And then absolutely will share it. If I, oh, please, just someone needs to remind me. I bet you it's going to be Phil, because that guy doesn't sleep, by the way. We all suspect that Phil is a robot. I'm quite convinced of it, that he's actually just a robot in AI, because he's everywhere and he never sleeps. But if I do remember, I'll definitely, if I do the wrap-up blog for this. And then just another note, someone reached out to me on YouTube in the week and then said they love the videos, but please, I'm a slow down. I talk way too fast. You can't slow me down. It's not going to happen, people. There's no pulls in the world strong enough to slow me down. So please remember that I always share the recording on YouTube afterwards as well. So please share it with your friends if you think it's something that can help them, and remind them that you can change the playback speed on YouTube if you want to listen to me just a little bit slower, because I can't slow down. It's not going to happen. Cool. So let's get started. I just want to make sure that it will still share my desktop. So I just want to check. Yes, it does. Cool. So I'm going to go straight. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is in PowerPoint as promised. That's a book, that's text, that's images, that's a post-it, that's a staple thing, that's a cup, there's coffee. So I'd gladly, I think I'll put together a PowerPoint maybe with a couple of these images in. Please just remember something. I built this so many years ago that I honestly don't remember where I got those images anymore. So if it comes to copyright or royalty free and stuff, don't use these images to go build a website that you're going to charge money for, okay? Don't get me into trouble. But I will share some resources with you as well as to where you can get some of these things. And I definitely will. I'll share this with you tomorrow. Not last week. Last week I didn't have a webinar. I wasn't lazy. I actually presented a webinar for another company, so it was just too hectic for me the Thursday. But it did take me a couple of days to load my stuff because I'm so lazy, and I'm going to really try and work on the fact that I'm a professional procrastinator. I'm definitely going to do that better. So let's get to SharePoint. I'm going to just go straight into the SharePoint side of things. So SharePoint Online, obviously part of Microsoft I'm saying Office 365. There's been a lot of change. But if I want to build a new site, it really is, I'm going to very, very quickly go through this. So I'm going to just, in the top corner, I'm going to click on Create Site. You've got two templates that you can choose from. The one is a team site template. The one is a communication site template. So the team site template, the easiest to kind of like just differentiate. The team site template has a left navigation and it has an Office 365 group in the background, similar to the sites that are built behind your Microsoft Teams. For communication and intranets and things, I build communication sites. So they don't have a Office 365 group behind it. It's got normal SharePoint groups for permissions, and it does not have a left navigation. So let's quickly think what we can call this. I'm going to call it Ikigai just because Ikigai is my favorite thing. I've already built a site called Ikigai. Who would ever imagine that? So let's go for Uitiki. That, by the way, is my second of the 3 motorcycles name. It means when you are brave and courageous in life. So we'll call our SharePoint site that. You've got different templates that you can pick from or layouts, topic, showcase, or blank. So what's important about this is that you can still make changes afterwards. It doesn't actually really matter which one you choose. We can change it afterwards. So for now, I'm going to just leave it on topic, which is the one that has that Euro web part on it. So let's quickly just build that. Thanks, Susan. Oh yeah, I'm not publishing these, so any normal standard comments, I'm not publishing as questions. So anyway, there we go. How quick is that, by the way? I've built a website. It's like pretty cool. It's an internal, of course, website which people in my company can access. It's brilliant for intranets, communication sites, for portals to share information, etc. So if I look at SharePoint, and I mean, we could have quite a mix on the call, obviously, of what your strengths is when it comes to SharePoint or not. So I think before I go any further, there's 2 resources that I am going to share with you, and I'll gooi. Remember, gooi in Afrikaans is to throw it in the Q&A. I'm going to gooi some URLs in there. The first one is, this is a blog series that I wrote, it was probably about 2 years ago already. It's 21 parts that takes you through 0 to hero of building a SharePoint intranet. Okay, very basic, simplistic way of approaching it. If you go to this, and I'm going to share the link with you now, if you go to this, you'll see that there's 21 parts. So there's no way in this webinar that I can cover all these things, okay? If you want to put yourself through a little course, 21 parts of videos, they're only 5 minutes each. So of course I speak super fast and I cover things quickly, but it definitely will take you through the basics of building a library, building an FAQ list, etc., etc. And then the second one, so let me copy that link first. So that is, let's build an intranet together. So that's a nice little training course for anyone that that wants to do some cool things. Okay, so firstly, build intranet. There we go. So go grab those links. Don't forget about grabbing them. Then the second one that I do want to share is one that I did after that, which was Empower Your SharePoint Intranet Super Users. It's a 12-part series that I did. And this is all about making sure that the people that must contribute to the intranet knows how things work. Again, it's most probably about 2 years old, so there might be a couple of features that's not in there yet. but you will see that that there's a lot of resources in there about how to upload documents and creating views and versions and all of those things. So that is empowering your contributors. So contributors, ooh, capitals, why do I have capitals? Contributors. So that's the second one. So the first is build an intranet. The second one is your contributors. So there's a little slow, put yourself through some things. It is still very fast paced. So I've had friends give me feedback that never built SharePoint stuff and they say, gee whiz, Trace, that's hectic. So I get it, but take your time and I promise you, you can get there. So that is the contributors. There's another one also when it comes to the contributors. So hold on a moment. Here's another blog as well. I mean, if you just go to my blog and you search for SharePoint, you're going to find loads. SharePoint definitely was my intro into the Microsoft world, okay? And like I said, it's my first true love. It's never broken my heart, okay? No matter what you say, it's never, ever broken my heart. SharePoint for me is on the same superhero status as my motorcycles. And at least SharePoint hasn't broken my ribs, okay? So that just tells you where that is in the hierarchy of things that are amazing. Okay, so where's our site that we've built? Built. Let's just find it. What did I do with that SharePoint site now? There we go. No. Gee whiz, people. Oh, there we go. Okay, so my SharePoint site's been built. When it builds the site, it's got a home page, which is the one that we're looking at. It'll have a site page as library and a couple of things in the background. What I do want to spend time on today is more on the graphics and on the web parts. Please grab those URLs that I've shared with you and reach out if there's any other things I can also cover. I always keep on looking for ideas for webinars and for blogs. So if there's something that you are struggling with, reach out on social media. Again, as always, try not to do it with a direct message because that's very difficult for me to answer all of those. But if you just do it as a post and tag me in it, then at least other people can also jump in on the conversation and learn from it. Okay, SharePoint pages. I'm looking at my OneNote on this side and just making sure of the different things that I do want to cover with you. So first things first is if I look at this standard site that's been built, this is a Euro web part, okay? So fully responsive. I mean, these things are sexy as they come. If I have to split my screen just to show you, ooh, wrong side. If I have to split my screen, you'll see that it's fully responsive. It actually starts wrapping. So even if I go narrower, it'll keep on wrapping and wrapping the web parts below each other. So normally I just drag the screen smaller like that to kind of have a quick view of what it'll look like on mobile, because of course, remember that SharePoint is beautifully mobile responsive as well. Now, the first things that I am going to cover with you, and like I said, you can shout out if there's specific things that you want to see, but the first thing I am going to cover is the type of web parts that you can add. I'm not going to be covering building applications for SharePoint tonight. We definitely don't have time for that. I'm saying tonight because it's 7 p.m. for me already. My day is pretty much started now. I've got meetings going till midnight, which in cold winter, it doesn't work so well for me. Okay, so here I am on my SharePoint site. I'm going to put the page into edit mode. Okay, so it's edit there on the right hand corner. And once you put it into edit mode, you'll see that you can kind of see the blocks around the web parts. Okay, it kind of gives you an indication of how the web parts work and how zones and things work. Now think of zones or sections like your columns in a Word document, okay, in which you put content again. So if I look at this, you'll see that completely on the left there's little plus signs, and you can click on them to add new sections, and in those you can add web parts. Okay, so this, as mentioned, is my Euro web part. Now normally I want to try and get as much as I can on the page without it being too busy, of course. And you did see my PowerPoint, so you know that I am the queen of busy. But something that I really like about the layouts, and I'm going to just click on that little plus right at the top there. and show you something that I'm saying recent, good grief, I can't say how long ago, but this little vertical section thing is something that I really like. Okay, so I like using that on the right hand side of my page for web parts that tend to go and be long, like Twitter, Yammer, a survey from forms or something, so that it runs down next to the web parts. I really like that. So I'm going to absolutely bring that in and say I want that vertical column on the right hand side, and for now I'll just leave these other web parts there. So that's a section that you can add. So if you look at this on the left hand side, this is one column width. If I hover over it, you can see that it's a single column width, which means that I can add a section as well and say that I want this to be 2 columns. And then I've got this vertical column going on the right hand side. Always, please, when you put web parts into sections, always check what it looks like on mobile phone, okay? Because on mobile it's going to wrap, and it's going to wrap column for column first. So this vertical will be right at the bottom, if that makes sense. So for example, don't put a text web part here that says on the right hand side is our most favorite CEO, and then you've actually got a photo of farm animals somewhere else, and on mobile it's wrapping and it's putting it next to it. Okay, so be very careful of doing things like that. Always check it on mobile first to see if your web part still makes sense with how it's wrapping, because it definitely wraps per column. Okay, so you can pack it as nice as you want on the page, it's going to wrap different on mobile. So please check that, and the easiest way to do that is to just make your screen halved, like Windows button, left arrow or right arrow, and drag it a bit smaller to actually see how the web parts are collapsing or going underneath each other, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's look at the different types of web parts. So firstly, my sections are on the left-hand side. That's where I can say 2 columns or 3 columns, etc., etc. Then I can also, in those areas, I can then start adding web parts, which is that little plus sign that you see there. When I'm in a specific area, these little tools there allows me to duplicate, so copy, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Microsoft. They launched that a while ago. Move them and also edit the sections. Now, based on the themes, and I must make a note on that, I want to cover the themes with you as well. Based on the themes, of course, the colors that come through will be different in the different web parts. So let's look at my vertical column first. I want to also talk about the integration between the other apps and services. So I'm going to just grab specific things from other apps and services also to add them in web parts, and then we can start looking at seeing the things that we didn't cover yet. I'm going to just take a scroll through any Q&A type things, and just shout out at any time if you want to know something specific. So as mentioned, the vertical column on the right-hand side, I prefer doing things like putting Twitter in there or Yammer or things that kind of can be long and short, if that makes sense. So it's not a standard height of a web part. So if I click on that little plus, you'll see that there's the web part. So you can either search for a web part, but if you're new to SharePoint, I would suggest expanding that and then go change this to A to Z, because it gives you a nice list of what all the web parts are, okay? Normally I just search, but this will definitely inspire you to start looking at other things you can add. So let's quickly, just while we're at it, we're going to test Twitter. Of course, Microsoft put their own one in there first, so I'm going to just add my Twitter handle, so Tracy, and then what I can do is I can show the header as well. I can also, no idea what dividers are. What is that? Oh, it's that little line thing there, it looks like it. Theme color, let's look at this. Oh, I could swear I have not seen that before. That's pretty cool. So you can also bring in the theme color, and then you can also say how many items it must show. So depending on how many items you want to show, maybe just the latest tweet. And the nice thing is it'll keep on running down below the other web parts that you see there on the side. So let's add another one. Now I want to add Yammer. So I'm going to just search for it now. So there's conversations and highlights. Conversations allows me to bring through a specific group or community. Remember that Yammer has had quite a nice refresh, so they're also super sexy. And if I look at this, I can then type for a specific community. So I'm going to just search for my TGS social community. And then again, I can change the conversations. So, oh, that's interesting. Very important, don't add Yammer groups on a page where people that access that page doesn't have access. Again, I think this is also brand new. I don't think I was able to choose 2 conversations before. I might be wrong, but there we go. So there's my Yammer web part. So hi there, nice new article, great video, etc. And what was the other thing that I said works well? Forms. So if I go to Microsoft Forms, so let's go and find a nice one. I'm just trying to find, I'm still not going to use this one actually. If I open a specific survey or a quiz, when I go to sharing, this is when I get the sharing link for it. Okay, so let's just, hello. Cool, no. So only people in my org, please check as well. Remember that the settings for the survey still applies wherever you add it. So I'm going to just copy that. And that means, and again, I'm going to get lazy now and start searching. So Microsoft Forms, it's going to ask me, is it a new or existing? It's an existing form. Where's the form address? I'm going to paste that link that I just copied. And then again, it's collect responses because you can also show the form results. Now, as mentioned, you'll see here, so that's Twitter, that is Yammer, and that is a survey. So see, because they tend to be a bit longer than normal web parts, they actually work for me quite well in this site. The nice thing as well is that you can rename web parts on the page. So I can just call this social media, for example. I can call this my Yam Jam. I definitely make these things up as I go. And then, of course, I have the survey there below it as well. So see how nicely those displays, and that's why I normally put them in that right-hand column. Also, if I look at that section, if I select this section, you can see there that I can change the background color. So I can say that that must be, very clever. I can say that that must be dark blue or the little light blue or even gray or something. Okay, it depends on what web parts you have in that. Now, if I look on the left-hand side and in my other columns, let's take a look at the other type of web parts. So we've added Twitter already, we've added Yammer, we've added Microsoft Forms. So it works really great on SharePoint pages. Then let's expand this and take a look at the other web parts that are available. So, and I'm going to just run through some of these. Okay, so some of them that I've already got open, and I'm going to show you great examples of these as well. The first one that I want to add is Stream. So Stream is my internal YouTube. Make sense? So internal YouTube, you can add a YouTube link as well to a video that's external, but make sure that YouTube is open inside of your company for people to be able to view. So I'm going to add Stream. It's going to ask me, hey Trace, is that all of Stream? No. Is it a specific video? Yes. So I'm going to just go to Stream, and if I go to Stream, I've got a channel called my intranet videos, I think. So I've created a channel, there we go, intranet videos. And here's an example, employee engagement. So if I click on the ellipsis next to that and I go share, I can get that URL. So if I go back to my Wahitiki site, you'll see there, I'm going to say it's not all of Stream, it's a single video. It's going to say, where's the video? I'm going to go, boom, there it is. And that's me adding a specific video on the page. But remember, you can add a channel as well. I prefer adding channels because as I add videos to the channel, it will show on the page. So let's think for training, or let's think on the HR page on the intranet, and you've got all the latest little HR videos. So that's pretty cool that you can add a channel as well as a specific item. Let's quickly see what a channel looks like. So I'm going to just add another open column. If I do add channels, I prefer adding them across a page like that, but that's something that you can play around with. If we go back to all of Stream and I go back to channel, I think, nope, I still have to get the link. So I could copy this channel and then go back to SharePoint and say that's the channel address. Now, as I add videos to that channel on Stream, it will automatically show on the page. So this is also a very, very cool way to add Stream videos. So that's my Stream. I just want to close these tabs as I've dealt with them. Yammer, I've already showed you. Forms, I've already showed you. Cool, so let's go back. So another thing that I love adding is Sway. I'm a very big fan of Sway, okay? Now you'll see that if you search for Sway, you can't add Sway as a web part. You can add the embedded code to the Sway. So I use Sways for induction, information packs, blah, 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 cool things, events, planning. So where is my Sway? Nope, 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 nope. There we go. So if I go to Sway, to get the link to the Sway, and I'm going to just grab a specific Sway. It's also going to force me to sign in now. Sway is interesting like that. So let me just expand that again. So I'm looking for, I better just keep on opening that up. So Microsoft Customer Immersion Experience. So this specific Sway, I've change the settings. If I go to the settings of the Sway, so there we go, settings. I've set the Sway to autoplay. And that's nice if I add it on a SharePoint page, which means that when the page loads for people, it actually starts autoplaying immediately. How is this possible that we're on nearly a half an hour already and I still feel like I can spend days on? I'm going to have to speed this up, peeps. So if I go to share, you'll see that there's a link to share, but you'll see there's embedded code. So to add a Sway on a SharePoint page, I need to grab the embedded code. Please remember that your permissions needs to be set correctly. So if you add it on a page, make sure that the people have access to the Sway as well. So I'm going to use the embedded code, and then it's going to ask me what's the embedded code, and I'm going to go boom. Now remember, embedded code you can grab from Google Maps, from YouTube, there's a lot of sites that allows for embedded code as well. Now check this out. How cool is that? How cool is that? It just plays on its own. I don't know who recognizes those design ideas, but that's PowerPoint, by the way. So this is a nice tool for awareness campaigns or, I don't know, employee engagement or just something that moves on the pages and is a little bit sexier and interesting, okay? So adding a Sway that auto plays, I think is pretty cool. Okay, so that is Stream, that is Sway. I've added Yammer, I've added Forms, I've added Twitter. You can add YouTube as well, as I explained. So let's take a look at the other web parts. I've still got lots that I want to share with you. So let's go through this. Okay, now Bing Maps, of course, I'm pretty sure that you understand what that is. I'm not going to add all these web parts, peeps. We definitely don't have time for that. A button is a button, okay? I prefer using the call to action. So let me show you what call to action looks like. Call to actions works great for me for, I don't know, the anonymous hotline or click here to enter the competition or blah, blah, blah. So if I add a call to action, you'll see that it allows me to add a background image and a label for the button and a link that I can go to. So I'm going to just go put any address in. Mindtools.com, by the way, if you don't know it, it's a brilliant, that did not work well, brilliant site for personal development. You get it for an app for iOS and Android as well. Go check it out. Let's go get an image. If I want to add an image, there's no images on this site yet, but just a little tip that I want to give you is that SharePoint, as soon as you start adding images on pages and things, there's a library called Site Assets, okay? I would prefer you adding all the graphics you want to use in Site Assets and then always picking it from here versus uploading it every time. Because if you put it in one folder in Site Assets, then it's reusable. It doesn't just lie as a little folder on each page that you built. So I would rather do it the other way around. Create a folder in Site Assets for images for pages, and then everyone in the intranet or whatever can always reuse those images. You don't create duplicates everywhere. But for this sake, I am going to just upload an image. So let's find a cool image that we can use. See, that's the problem when I do SharePoint. I get stuck in the details, but it's okay. So there's a little background image we're going to use. I am going to also put a button label on and say click here. And then you'll see there, so there's my background image. I can set the alignment as well, which is pretty cool. But then once I've set this up, I can then actually click on that black, come on, as well. So I want to learn more find tools and then click here. So that's a call to action. They're pretty nifty. I really like them. Then I always change it to A to Z, by the way. So code snippets, that's if you can add code snippets from other sources on the page. Conversations is your Yammer. Countdown timers are great for, hey, so many days until we move to level 2 in South Africa and people can have their hair cut, okay? At least we can buy wine already, but we can still not buy cigarettes. Then a divider is a little line that it puts on a page. A document library, would you be surfacing a document library that's already on the site, so it doesn't duplicate it, it actually just surfaces it. Embedded code, we've already used. Events is your calendar that sits on the SharePoint site, so corporate events and things, and that's just you adding it on a page again. Don't get confused by web parts and apps. Web parts, let's take a step back. If you think of a SharePoint page, I want you to think of a wall in your house. So if I had to look around, on this side, there's an air conditioner, there's paintings, I've got a shelf full of crazy childish things. I've got a window with blinds. I've got a desk with all my things, but a wall and a page on SharePoint similar. You can have windows that looks at content that's somewhere else. You can have paintings, which is pictures. You can have light switches, which is like buttons. I don't know, it's all types of things like that. So that's kind of how it works to build these windows into content that's somewhere else, and that would be like the document library. File viewer is pretty cool. I'm going to show you a nice example. I did a blog this week about communications regarding policy updates, where I used the file viewer, so I'll show you that as well. The Euro web parts, that one that's already on the page, we're going to come back to that now as well. Highlighted content is quite cool because you can surface content across your sites or hub sites below it based on a word in a title or a type of document. Yammer highlights, image web parts, so I can just add an image as well. So that's great if you just want to add just a little image. So here's a cool idea. Now remember, this page that I'm busy building is not going to make sense to anyone, okay? I'm really just going through the different web parts and trying to inspire you with different things to use. Now, let's go upload a web part. So I'm going to say this softly because Microsoft and SharePoint apparently doesn't know the difference between GIFs and images, and I don't want them to find that out. So you can add GIFs any place where you can add an image, okay? So just shush about it because I'm so scared they take it away. So if I go to GIFs, this is a GIF that I created with PowerPoint, because remember PowerPoint can create GIFs now. And this is like a motivational GIF. I'm going to add it and then you'll see. So it's actually different images that rotate. So I've used the image web part, but I'm using GIFs. Such a great way for motivational campaigns to get a message across, or quote of the day, or these are the important things you need to know. Or even maybe you want to use that as a web part on the page to introduce the team, and each image that scrolls is, and this is Peter and he's from finance, and this is Sarah and she's from IT or something. So the GIFs are brilliant because it gets loaded just like an image. So that's just a GIF that I created in PowerPoint. So that's a very cool thing to do as well. Then I have to load this on a long image. Like I said, I'm just randomly loading images here. I just want to add another column at the bottom. Then just while we're on images, there's something called an image gallery as well. So image galleries are great because you can surface a whole bunch of images. So think of doing a newsletter for December's team building experience. You want to add all these images as a collage on the page. Okay, I really like them. So I'm going to go and click on add image. Again, I'm going to upload images, but I would prefer you using folders in your site assets. So let's get images. So let's say, see, I'm going to get stuck in this people and parties, there we go. So let's say we had one of those cool paint color, I can't remember what they're called now. So let's say we had one of those cool things and wonderful dogs and more colors and awesome people. So let's add some more and photos, guy on a skateboard, people making smiley faces and all of those. Okay, so I've added 2, 4, 6, blah, blah 14 images. Thank goodness SharePoint counted for me. I'm going to show you now what it does on the page. So this is great for newsletters, or if you have an event gallery per department and they want to share cool photos. You'll see there that you can share it by brick or by grid or by carousel. I like the brick because it does smaller landscape portrait type images. So that's what the image gallery web part would look like. Oh yay, I'm going to just publish that. So full, for your organizational images, add an organizational library, which puts all the images you want out there, a tiny piece of PowerShell, but worth it. That's pretty cool. Organizational, I'll have to go and read up about that, because what I've done in the past as well, Phil, is that I would create a library on the intranet that everyone knows they can access for that content. I don't think I needed PowerShell for that, but this most probably just makes it available to all. So that's quite a cool thing. Thanks for that. Let me see, did I publish that? Did I not publish that? What am I doing? What did I publish? Huh. I published the wrong one, sorry. Hold on. So, is that published now? Cool. So there's a nice note from Phil. Thanks for that, Phil. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Cool, got it. Thanks, Phil. So there's all those images just on the page. Let's run through some more of the web parts before I start showing you some examples. I would definitely, and I like that. I'll definitely go and read up about that, Phil, because I like the idea of reusing content. I've got it on my machine as well, just in OneDrive, because we download so many images. I've got this massive library where I store all these images that I reuse. Okay, so it's just a cool thing to do. Countdown timers, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Image gallery, there it is. Kindle instant preview. I've never used it. I have no idea what that's about. Links is if you want to just add a link to a website. Now, that doesn't work well if the website doesn't have an image behind it. So let's quickly do a test. I wouldn't use it anyway, to be quite honest. I'd rather use the quick links. So let's just add my blog quickly, funderscave.com. It loads a preview. It does need, oh, there we go. So I've got the little image thing on my site. Let's try my other website. So my other website doesn't have a like a icon assigned to it, so that's why it doesn't show it. So I must admit, I can't say that I'll use this web part much, but you might find a good business case for it. Okay, so where will we? Links, lists. Lists similar to libraries. Is links. This is new. Wait a minute. This is new. I've not used this. Let's go check it out. Hold on. Configure links. Please configure the web part in order to show links. I don't know. Oh, do you know what this is, people? This is similar to what we used to have on the old SharePoint. Was that also called links? Oh, I think it was. Phil, have you tried this out, by the way? We're going to get to the policies. I'll show you that, Peter. I've not tried this, people, but this is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure we had this on the old SharePoint. So this is where you can build your own links list to say I've got a group that says external websites and there's a list. Man, I'm so happy about this. I need to blog this. Hold on. I want to just make a note here as well. So firstly, share templates. Secondly, yay, useful links. New web part. That's new, by the way. That's new. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to waste too much time on it, but go check it out. That's exactly what we had on old SharePoint. I'm so happy about that. Okay, let's quickly go and look. I'll show the policies and stuff for you in a moment. Okay, I've got some examples to show that. Let's quickly run through this. This is a list. So if you have FAQs or something, you would surface it through using the list. Microsoft Forms, I've already showed you. Power Apps, I can pull a Power App, let's say the Leave application. News is the web part that's already showing there for news pages. I'll go through that in a moment as well. Don't use this anymore because that's your old Office 365 video. You should be using Stream by now. People is great, so I normally use people web parts when I just want to grab the Brahm. when I want to give ownership to certain things. So let's say I've got Bram here, and I'll say Bram is responsible for the policy. So who's the contact person for the web part that's below it? There's my policies. Oh, it's Bram, and I can hover over his name, and I can send him an email or contact him. So that's a pretty cool thing to do. Power BI, of course, you can add. I've not checked out personal. This I've not looked at all. This, me make a note. Personal contacts, email, task, test. I'll definitely go and have a look at that. Where are we? Save for later is quite new as well. Spacer is cool because you can align web parts if you want a little bit of space and you want to kind of bring them up next to each other. I prefer to rather do that with bringing in a new section. Text web part, of course, is just me adding text on a page. So let's quickly grab some dummy text. You know what lorem ipsum is, but I use cupcake ipsum, of course, because life should have more cupcakes in it. So let's quickly grab some text. I'll just show you. Let's just generate some text. There we go. Marshmallows, blah, blah, blah. There we go. So there's your text web part. There's where you can set the type of fonts, the colors, there's all of that. Also remember that they brought out the anchors a while back. So I can bring in text now on a page anywhere. So I'm going to bring in text and I'm going to call this strategic object. I can mark this as a header, which means that when I publish the page, that becomes an anchor that I can navigate to. So let me quickly just do that before I forget, and I can show you. I've got to just check my time. I'm going to look at Q&A now in a moment. Quickly want to just show you some examples. So see there, as soon as the page is published, just give it one momento. See that little link it makes next to it? Check out this coolness. Copy link address. Let's edit the page again. So that means at the top of my page, or even in this vertical column, I can bring in a list like an index or something. And in the old days, and then I'll catch you out knowing how old you are, but we used to have breadcrumbs on SharePoint. So I could have at the top of my page somewhere, I could have, I'm going to just do it as text now, but you can do it as quick links. So I can say information, document, jeez, I'm not typing well, documents, objectives, for example. And in this example, I'm going to highlight objectives. Hold on. Save. And if I publish the page, you'll see that that's clickable and it takes you to that section on the page. So that's anchor links. I have written a blog about that. I will share. I forgot to get the link. Let me just quickly grab it and I'll share it with you as well. So the anchors on the page is pretty nifty. One momento. Let me just get that link and I'll share it with you. Gee whiz, I can spend like a whole week. We can have a SharePoint week, like a festival, and I would just carry on sharing cool stuff with you. So this is anchors. There's a blog that tells you exactly how to use that. So, so there you can see, if I click on that, it's going to scroll down to strategic objectives. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's quickly look at the themes. So if I look at themes, and I am going to show you some more examples now that I'll share blogs with as well. I'm going to look at the questions now as well. Change the look. Theme, so there's standard themes that you can pick from. So I can go red, for example, and you'll see that it then changes those background blocks. I then have dark red, etc. You can also build custom themes. So I have done that. You need a little bit of extra tools. So custom themes. So you'll see in my themes, I've got other themes that's not part of the custom. So there we go, ancient green, aqua, custom black. These are custom colors that I built. Okay, so it's not standard colors. So you can build ones. I've shared the link there. I'm going to check the questions out in a moment, peeps. Then, okay, before I start sharing some examples, this Euro web part, I really like them. You can set them up to be a single image, 3 images, 5 images. I've done a couple of very, very cool blogs about Euro web parts. You can put a GIF. I'm going to just share those links, so please grab those links as I share them. You can put a GIF in a Euro web part as well. So one of those blocks can be a GIF that rotates. So that's 3 blogs that I think can really help load with the Euro web part. So let me just go there. This one I've already shared with you. This one I've shared with you. See, not that clever. There we go. So that Euro web part, in this one you'll see I use different colors, and I did that by creating a block in PowerPoint and saving it as an image because I'm sneaky like that. That's also playing with different colors, and this is just really to inspire you with different things you can do with the Euro web part. So that's me in the Microsoft colors, that's me using plants or IT stuff or people, I don't know. And then also I did speak about using the GIF there. So that's that blog, which I think can really help you and inspire you a lot. So images, resources, themes, web parts, news pages, policy, communication pages. Okay, so first things first, let's quickly just check questions before I carry on. Okay, let's see. Yes. Peter, I'm going to get to the policies immediately after this. Yeah, I've not seen it, Phil. What's up with that? How cool is that? I didn't either. We're going to have to go test out that useful links, people, and then go share things on social media. Tell me if you've tested it and tell me what it looks like. New ones are not on my production tenant yet. So I might say that I am from South Africa, but I'm pretty sure my tenant's still in Europe. But how cool is that? That's brand new. I'm ahead of the game. I'm actually winning at something for a change. I have web parts that you people don't have. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's look at just sharing some resources, and then I want to talk about the policies as well. Okay, so let's quickly go through the following. Again, please copy those resources from the Q&A that I'm sharing with you. I'm not going to wrap this up in a blog because I'm just too lazy today. This is pixels.com, free, non-copyright, royalty-free, amazing images. Pixels.com is the one. Okay, the second one that I use all the time is Pixabay. Awesome images. Then, and if I can give you a trick, hey, don't click download on the images because they get finicky at some point and then they say, oh no. So let's quickly see office images. Let's find office images. If I click on an image and I want to use it, I don't click on download. I go right click, save image. Boom, it's much faster. Okay. Pixabay I've shared with you. Unsplash is also pretty amazing images. All of these are royalty free. I think you've got to be careful of building websites that you sell though, so you might have to credit the artist, but they've got rules on them. There's about Unsplash licenses, etc. And then I am going to share this in a webinar, and I might get trouble for it. Someone took me out on social media about this a couple of years ago, but this site, it's well, not gratosography. Hold on, here's another one that's amazing. This oak is crazy. His images and stuff is absolutely amazing. So this is another one I want to share with you. And this PowerPoint that I built with all these crazy things in, this is where I get some of them from. So Kiss PNG, I know it sounds dodgy as hell, okay? But I get incredible images with transparent backgrounds there. Please be careful, do not use this on like production or corporate or external websites, okay? But for example, let's quickly see. I just want to give you an idea. So if I had to search for spectacles, you can see there, and it's a transparent like background, like really cool. But please go and check out the licensing on this specific site because I don't think their licensing is pretty cool. Okay, don't think it's so fast. You have to go check that out. But that's quite a nice way to be able to build these cool loose things. Okay, so that's Kiss PNG. Sounds dodgy. Definitely does sound dodgy. Okay, so let's quickly see. Good, policies. Let's talk about policies quickly. On intranets, and part of that, let's build an intranet together URL that I shared with you. I specifically show people how to build their policies library and how to surface the content, okay? If I go into the background of this modern intranet of mine and I go to site contents, I always build all my stuff into one library called the Info Hub. Okay, I don't have separate libraries on separate hub sites and stuff. I don't. I build very simple. And you'll see that I work with metadata. So in this library, I have department and I have type of document, which means that I can build views that says group by department or group by document type. So let's check it out quickly. So there you can see there's my library with agreements, with reports, etc. Okay, which means that on the landing page of the site, I can surface my policies in that way. So that's one way of doing it. I'm just going back to the landing page. So if I go and add that document web part, so let's quickly add that. Kom nou. You know when you start speaking Afrikaans to your SharePoint sign. Come on, why is it so slow? Okay, I'm just waiting for that to load. Are we there yet? Come. Jeez, I don't know why it's still busy loading, so I'll get back to that in a moment. Then, now I'm going to have to wait for this page. I don't know why it's loading. So there we go. So if I wanted to load that policies, and I probably wouldn't do it in a column that's like that, I would put it in a double width column. So let me just quickly add that. Okay. Jeez, I don't know why everything's gone so slow now. So if I wanted to add that policies and procedures and things, I would use my library. There we go. And then it's going to allow me to pick the library that I want to display anytime soon. It's Info Hub that I want to display. And as soon as I pick the library, it's going to pull the default view. So you actually need to configure it to say which view it is that you want it to show on the page. So let's just give it a mouse. So there's Info Hub. I don't want it to show all documents. I, for example, wanted to show grouped by department, okay? And always show auto size, and then I'm going to apply. So this is normally how I show policies or procedures or something on a page. I would bring it in like that, and then people can expand and then see the different things. So I've got to just check my time here very quickly. I want to show you the blog that I did. In this week, I did a blog about sharing communication. Oops, I think I did it yesterday actually. Sharing communication about new policies and things. So go check it out. Create employee awareness. I'll just throw it in the Q&A for you. It is here. Modern SharePoint. So if you look at this page, I wrote a news article. So news pages are like site pages that you build with all those web parts, but it publishes it to mobile and stuff as well. So go check out this blog that I put out yesterday. But here you'll see I've brought in what are the changes on the policy. I've brought a sway in. I've got a little survey there that people have to sign off. I've got a video that explains it. And on this page, I then added a file viewer, which allows people to physically look at the policy on this page. So I wrote a whole blog about doing this regarding policies. I've just shared it for you in the Q&A. You can definitely go and check that out. So newsfeed, policy, image hotspots. That's another thing I want to quickly cover with you before this hour has gone so fast. I've got so many cool things. I think I should do a couple of SharePoint webinars actually. There's so many cool things I can show you. So hub, image stuff. Okay. So back in the day, because remember I am 45, so I've come a long way with Microsoft and SharePoint already. So back in the day, we used to have SharePoint Designer, and we could build image maps on pages, which means we could bring an image in, and then with little coordinates on the page, we could make clickable hotspots, okay? I'm not saying that this is good for an intranet landing page. Please don't use it for a landing page, but it really works nice for training and things like that. So this page, you can see, this is an image that I did in PowerPoint, by the way. So here's the physical PowerPoint. You'll see that I actually created blocks over shapes, and I then made this shape transparent. And on that shape, I put a link in it, okay? So edit link, there you can see, it's going to show me there's my URL. So then I save this PowerPoint as a PDF. And I put the PDF in a file viewer on a page in SharePoint. So that means I can look at this page and go, oh, I want to learn about critical thinking and evaluation. You see it makes like a highlighted box. I'm going to click on that and it's going to open a page. So again, I'm going to share this URL with you in the Q&A immediately. So that's a very simple way to build image maps, and then it opens that page. I think that's pretty nifty. Obviously, I don't know why my internet is so extremely slow at the moment. Maybe it's because I'm in South Africa, I think it's that. And it's also Netflix time, okay? It's 8 o'clock, everyone's watching Netflix at the moment. So then you can see that's image hotspots, and I'll share the blog with you as well as how to do that. It's a pretty cool little thing to do. Please remember that the image is not a standard size image, it's slightly smaller, because then it doesn't scroll in the file viewer. It really works quite nice. Let me quickly just look at questions, peeps, before I continue to go anywhere. You are so welcome, Peter. I don't have any questions. Okay, cool. So let's go through. I've got another couple of minutes that I can share some cool things. There's loads that I can share, people. This is really just to inspire you. So I've shared the different resources, and then also don't forget about this, okay? So come on, PowerPoint. I create a lot of my graphics in PowerPoint by using design ideas, okay? So there's not even a joke about that. So if I go to images, remember design ideas, and I've done lots of blogs about it. So if I go to images, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to just drag 6 images onto this page quickly. I design a lot of my SharePoint page banners and things like that with these things, okay? So if I go to design, let's just give it a moment. Design ideas. There we go. So very often I would go and grab one of these examples that it's built, and I'll go like, hey, I definitely have bad network, peeps. I really hope that the webinar has been okay on your side, because I'm getting a message to tell me my network sucks, which I know. Anyway, so you can use this to create little graphics for your SharePoint pages. So use your design ideas. That's really some cool things you can do there. Let me just quickly see what else I want to share. So hotspots, then let's quickly go. The SharePoint lookbook, people. Oh my word. Let's just go there. SharePoint lookbook. You want to get inspired, okay? This is it. This is it. This is the best inspiration you can ever get. So if you want to go and look at different examples of things, how they've done, what web parts have been used, let me just first get this URL for you. The SharePoint lookbook's the place, okay? Also, if you're new to it, so click on one of the templates. It will then tell you what web parts have been used, blah, blah, blah. You can scroll down, etc. And the lookbook also has that crisis management template that can be installed in a tenant. And it's also got the Microsoft 365 learning pathways somewhere. I can't remember where that is, but it's here somewhere. So I don't know if it's leadership, is it? No, I don't know. Solutions. There we go. Microsoft 365 learning pathways. So that's the SharePoint lookbook. Then there is SharePoint training. So the video training, I'm going to quickly put that into the resource as well. Then there's SharePoint adoption. I can't open all of them now because we're nearly at the end of our webinar. Then there's the productivity library. So you just keep on grabbing those links, people, that I'm sharing with you. Maybe I will share them in the blog as well. If I publish the YouTube video, I'll take it across to WordPress maybe and then share the links. Then customized theme. Did I share that already? Customized theme. I think I did. Get creative, constant, Euro web part, customized theme I did share with you. Then also the quick links, by the way, I didn't get to that now, but I did do a nice blog that explains how you can modify the quick links, which is a pretty cool web part. So there's the quick links. And then I also did a nice blog about the SharePoint banners and graphics. So there it is as well. I will try and wrap this up into a blog. I keep on making promises and then I get tired and then by tomorrow I get busy. So I'm sorry for that. So there's lots of resources for you. Customized theme I've shared with you. Let's quickly look, people. We are at the end of our webinar. So thanks, Susan. I don't know why my machine's being dodgy. Thank you so much for everyone joining. I hope that you've had major fun with us. As always, to kind of just end off this webinar, and I'm not even going to go into whatever you want to call it, presentation mode again, but there's the adoption resources, there's the productivity library, there's the SharePoint video training URL that I shared, the SharePoint lookbook, which is incredible. Please keep your eye on what's new in Office 365. Take note that Office Pro Plus has been renamed to Microsoft 365 apps, which I think they deserve the highlight for. Then the Microsoft 365 roadmap is very good to stay up to date. The adoption resources are incredible. The Office 365 Training Center, the lookbook I've shared, Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways, Microsoft Tech Community people, and always remember that there's help in every and each of the apps, helps, feature suggestions, blogs, and community. And that pretty much brings me to the end of today. You amazing, amazing people.